Alright, so over Thanksgiving break, me and my family watched WAL-E, and then when we traveled to Austin and whatnot, we put on the TV in my family's living room as well, just so we can save room for some discussion and whatnot. But while watching WAL-E, I just think what stood out to me was just how disconnected everybody was from each other because of how indulged they were on that ship and how filthy the world became because of technology, because they depended so much on technology that they didn't really care about the world anymore. They just had to leave the planet they were living on and live in a giant cruise ship. And even when on a giant cruise ship, everyone was overweight and they were just too, like, everyone was just locked in on a screen. It was like you can't see anybody around them. No one saw each other's faces. They all saw each other on a screen, and that's how they socialized, and that's what they depended on, was just technology and AI. And that's what stuck out to me most with WAL-E is just like how people were so connected through technology, and that's like how today is. Everyone's so connected through technology. It's like each in-person interaction is like not as intentional as it once was in the past because of how easy it is to communicate with somebody over a phone or with AI or something like that. Something that stuck out to me from my discussion with family is my sister's boyfriend, who works for GM, like, admitted it's like sooner or later AI is gonna take his job. And that's why now he fixes cars for a living. He like fixes cars as a side job because he has a side job that in case AI eventually takes over his job, he has another thing to fall back on. And that's the crazy thing is like how AI in probably like 20 to 30 plus years is going to start taking over people's jobs. That does programming and stuff like that. My dad does programming for an oil company in Houston, and he even admitted that eventually AI is going to take over that job because he can easily program, and that AI is like super smart now and how it can program things and how it's going to take over people's jobs. And so that's a big fear people have, especially with AI, is just how it's going to start taking people over jobs. And now people who go to school and whatnot for certain jobs are no longer going to be able to go to school for that because AI is going to be able to do it on its own. Let's see here. And so, like, those are only two main people I had discussion with, my dad and my dad and my sister's boyfriend, because they both work in program. My mom and sister are therapists, but like they're not really threatened by it. But also, I could see where AI becomes a center of therapy, where it can start studying mental health, and it could start having discussions with people about mental health issues. So I think there's some concern there when it comes to therapy and whatnot with AI, but I think it's more important to have a human connection when it comes to therapy. And so that's a little bit more of an open discussion. I already think we're heading towards WAL-E's world when it comes to AI and technology. I think we've become so dependent on technology, especially social media, and how people pursue themselves, I think, or display themselves. I think a lot of people display themselves differently on social media than they do in real life, especially when it comes to relationships and just happiness. I think people display themselves to be more happy on social media than they are in real life. And so I feel like, especially when people start realizing they were behind the screen in WAL-E, they realize, oh wow, there's people in front of me. Like there's someone here in front of me. Like when that man and that woman finally met in WAL-E, like when Eve and WAL-E made them meet or something like that, they just like realized, whoa, like there's more here. And so I just feel like we're already heading towards that. People are so connected to technology and so connected to their phones, especially younger kids. I see people and parents who give like 5 to 6 year olds phones so they can just not take care of them, so they can just be plugged in and stay distracted the whole time. And so I just think that's something, especially with like things like DoorDash, Amazon, Uber Eats, like technology is taking over the world because of how easy it is to get something and how easy it is for something to get given to you through technology. I just think we're already heading towards that. So yeah, I just think WAL-E's back in the day, like really foreshadowed the future as we're headed right now as a society.